A mysterious and highly dangerous explosion has reportedly shaken one of Iran's most strategically vital and perilous missile bases. This occurred precisely as American military buildups are underway, which could potentially lead to a strike against Iran in the very near future. This developing situation and the explosion specifically came to light today, with numerous Iranian and international sources widely reporting on the incident. This explosion, which we are now showing you, occurred in Lorestan province, located in western Iran. These are the visuals of that very explosion, captured as it headed towards Khorramabad, filmed and shared by one of the local Iranian citizens. You can clearly observe from this image that we are looking at black color smoke. If this smoke had been white in color, it would signify that a missile launch was underway. But since it's black, this clearly indicates that some specific point had ignited or a limited explosion occurred at this extremely sensitive location. How did we come to know that this particular point was so critically important? It's by the very nature of how this particular location is identified, where you will clearly observe that looking through these mountains, we can see right here, the explosion is actually coming from behind these specific markers that we have previously indicated. And therefore, we are now attempting to proceed directly via satellite to Lorestan province, specifically to Khorramabad. And this indeed is Khorramabad. And we will observe that the exact point corresponding to what we just identified is precisely this region we are looking at. The moment we pause, we will clearly notice that we are in fact confronted with the very same markers we observed just moments ago, and these unequivocally confirm to you that the explosion did indeed take place within this specific area. It is exactly the same shot. Notice this image before and after. And so this is the region, and the area we are looking at right now is certainly not an ordinary location. It is the Khorramabad missile base, specifically one of the most critically important bases for Iran. And therefore, if we try to take the angle once again and try to reach approximately the point of the explosion that is coming here from behind these mountains, it is heading towards some very noticeable warehouses. These are the warehouses where it appears that one specific point has detonated. And these blue warehouses that we typically observe are either for the manufacturing of missiles or are directly connected to the process of producing and supplying missiles with all necessary components. Furthermore, there is another point of interest, another warehouse that stands out. It is quite possible that the explosion originated or moved in its direction, causing the black smoke to ascend and become visible in the precise direction we witnessed. This point is noteworthy because there are many visible rocket launchers here, as we can see, and the military equipment needed. And this confirms that this point is connected to the support and capability enhancement for the platforms and missiles, and therefore it's very likely that the explosion occurred at this point. And this base in Adesway, as we previously discussed, is a very key and significant one. Typically, when missiles are launched from this location, they traverse Iraqi airspace, then proceed over the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan to directly reach Israel. It is widely considered to be one of the most crucial bases. Now, regarding this explosion, why is it deemed to be of such extreme importance? Not only because it comes at a sensitive moment, at a juncture where the United States or even Israel might deliver a strike deep into Iranian territory. And however, this explosion occurs amidst reports that emerged from the New York Times today, which confirmed that the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps has moved its capabilities and missile launch platforms to western Iran in preparation for launching a strike against Israel or against the allies of the United States of America in the Middle East region. If the United States were to launch any strike deep into Iranian territory, and consequently such an explosion, whether it is imminent or directed towards one of the missile fuel depots or the missiles themselves to disable Iran's offensive capabilities as much as possible, specifically at the Khorramabad base, then it would undoubtedly prove to be particularly beneficial for the Israeli side. In addition to that, there were significant reports that were discussed by several Israeli sources, and Israel Radar specifically reported that the Iranian Revolutionary Guard has in the recent period, the missile platforms have been extensively deployed across western Iran, a development widely reported by the New York Times. And furthermore, Israeli assessments indicate that Lebanese Hezbollah is actively preparing to participate in Iran's defense as they perceive it, alongside various Iraqi factions and the Houthi group in Yemen. Consequently, Israel anticipates that missiles will not only come from Iran, but will also come from Iraq and from Hezbollah, and also from the Houthi movement. And there is evidence supporting these assessments, for instance, originating from within Iraq, from the Iraqi factions that released this particular video footage, in which they showcased a significant number of drones stored deep inside one of their tunnels. As we can clearly observe here, among these unmanned aerial vehicles that were displayed are precisely these aircraft that we see right here, colored in black. And these aircraft we're seeing here are the Shahed 101 drones, which are typically used by various Iraqi factions. In addition to that, we're also witnessing the appearance of this specific unmanned drone, which is completely identical to the Qasif 2K drone. This particular type of unmanned aerial vehicle is commonly utilized by the Houthi group, and now it is clearly visible among the Iraqi factions, as we can observe right here. As for Lebanon, the Lebanese Hezbollah, Israel launched numerous strikes yesterday against the group, targeting many leaders in the Bekaa Valley and various command and control centers. This is because they perceive warnings from Hezbollah indicating an imminent attack on Israel. It later became evident that 8 significant leaders of Lebanese Hezbollah and had been killed due to the Israeli strikes. So consequently, Israel is striving to protect itself as much as possible and to secure a strong position for when American operations against Iran commence. Of course, the strikes we're talking about, the escalating circumstances and the explosion that occurred in Khorramabad. This coincides with the American president's approach to directing a military strike against Iran. Moreover, Hebrew Channel 12 stated that U.S. President Donald Trump is leaning towards attacking Iran, but he intends to wait a few days to receive a reply from the Iranians regarding his demands made approximately 2 days prior. He had granted the Iranians a period of 10 days, with roughly 8 days still remaining from a specific deadline. And the Reuters news agency then came out to confirm that the core issue was clearly on the Iranian side, especially when these kinds of critical matters come to light. Dig the very nature of the American conditions regarding ballistic missiles, specifically when Abbas Araghchi, Iran's deputy foreign minister, was handed the official envelope or package outlining the American demands and was verbally made aware that there were demands concerning the missiles. He returned this envelope to the Yomani side and did not open it or even glance at its contents because he knew that there were conditions associated with the missiles, and this is a very important issue for American President Donald Trump. And until this very moment, it is not clear whether the Iranian side will concede on the issue of missiles. And of course, the United States of America is now making extensive preparations. It has mobilized on a massive scale to go actually when then we observe that the American aircraft carrier Gerald R. Ford has crossed the Strait of Gibraltar at a fast pace. Of course, the aircraft carrier's speed has changed, and consequently its arrival schedule in the Eastern Mediterranean has also shifted. Thus, with its current speed, it's expected to be here in the Eastern Mediterranean by Wednesday. Furthermore, the American deployment of warplanes has become extremely massive. Military aircraft are primarily stationed in Portugal and also on the island of Crete, as well as in Bulgaria. Furthermore, there is a very significant presence maintained at Prince Sultan Air Base within the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. This is accompanied by a truly massive defensive deployment from the American side right here. A significant defensive focus across all these regions to counter Iranian missiles. So if Iran wants to strike offensive capabilities, the distance is now greater as the US has shifted its positions and altered the bases' status. Yes, specifically at bases facing Iran. For example, we're talking about Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar. Reports initially came from the New York Times and the Shasha, and Israeli sources reported a withdrawal of many American soldiers and capabilities from this base. Jennifer Griffin from Fox News then came to deny this with statements from US officials that there was no evacuation. But if we look at the nature of Al Udeid Air Base, you'll notice that this was Al Udeid Air Base. From the beginning of this month, on February 9th, 10th and 13th, numerous aerial refueling tankers and military transport aircraft were observed. However, notice how the number of KC-135 refueling aircraft has significantly decreased, becoming merely 7 planes. Also, the American RC-135 Revit joint spy plane for reconnaissance missions is no longer at Al Udeid Air Base. It wasn't there. These planes essentially withdrew to the island of Crete, specifically Chania, to be positioned here in this area. Notice, these are the RC-135 planes. So from the most recent image provided by Chinese satellites, we see numerous refueling aircraft that have been withdrawn, accompanied by a single F-35 fighter jet. Please note that all these refueling aircraft have pulled out from Al Udeid Air Base to be strategically positioned in this particular area at an extremely vital point. Also, one of the refueling aircraft was observed flying from Chania on the Greek island of Crete, making its way towards the Middle East region, and it doesn't appear that there was any accompanying aircraft. However, from the audio recordings, it became evident that an RC-135 was the one hidden from radar, and it was being refueled. It appears to have started flying from this far distance to reach Iran, collect the necessary information, and then withdraw rather than carrying out these operations against Al Udeid Air Base. Naturally, the idea, the rearrangement of the base's status appears to stem from a new threat from the Iranian side to Al Udeid Air Base. Khanya notes that many aircraft such as A-10 Warthogs have been deployed there. These planes are likely to be used against armed factions close to Iran. And observe here the PEF, the F-35 aircraft from the very latest footage. Captured by one of the passengers who is filming how these American warplanes are deployed this time right here on this extremely vital Greek island, also from Cyprus. For example, you can observe a British aerial refueling aircraft that has appeared, having originated from Akrotiri in Cyprus, and you'll notice it's flying right here, providing fuel to a specific aircraft, which could potentially be a spy plane gathering critical intelligence on Iran. And this is the actual recording of the British KC-2 refueling aircraft, as we can clearly observe. And observe that Prince Sultan Air Base in Saudi Arabia is the location where numerous American military aircraft are stationed. All of these are American military aircraft according to the latest image from Chinese satellites. And you'll notice, for example, AWACS aircraft. 6 American AWACS aircraft are present at this extremely important base. Furthermore, an additional AWACS surveillance plane has now joined this significant gathering, traveling from Romania to Turkey. However, this specific aircraft is officially part of the NATO alliance. This is its recorded flight path from just yesterday. From its strategic location in Turkey, it will naturally gather crucial intelligence on Iran. The same aircraft conducted numerous espionage and intelligence gathering operations before the 12-day war. It was flying here to collect information on Iran, and the RC-135 was also gathering intelligence on Iran from the south until the strike finally came. Thus, the intelligence gathering capabilities and the attack, the United States intelligence and reconnaissance efforts have greatly expanded with NATO's help. You can also observe that this represents the operational status of American military transport aircraft throughout the past 24 hours. There were numerous C-17 Globemaster planes that flew extensively from Europe towards the Middle East region. Al-Fruk had indicated that most of these aircraft carry American defense systems, which are being added to the region for important reasons being the Iranian threats, as we discussed. Apparently, the number of potential targets has significantly increased. As for example, Mustafa Najafi, an advisor to Mohsen Rezaei, who is a member of the Iranian Expediency Discernment Council, spoke about one of the objectives that Iran could target: the American embassies located in the region, as well as the Israeli embassies. As we know, there are American embassies and also an Israeli embassy, for example, in the United Arab Emirates. These could be targets, and therefore Yari sending more defensive capabilities. It's not just to protect military bases or allies, but also to protect embassies, which is an important matter. So furthermore, we must consider that the C-17 Globemaster is capable of transporting crucial American rocket launcher systems such as HIMARS. These HIMARS systems were previously deployed in 2023, specifically in February. There was a large-scale training exercise conducted between Israel and the United States, known as Juniper Oak, which we are seeing right here. During this exercise, HIMARS systems were utilized along with naval capabilities, and American aircraft carriers were also involved. It was indeed a very extensive drill. Subsequently, the 7th of October occurred, and the situation rapidly evolved. Therefore, the application of this training in the current battle could prove to be extremely important for the United States of America and even for Israel. Therefore, we can observe that the heightened defensive capabilities in this particular area also establish a crucial protective perimeter for aerial refueling aircraft, as well as reconnaissance and surveillance missions at the Prince Sultan Air Base located in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. As for Iran, what truly separates Iran from Israel is naturally Iraq. There is also a considerable distance for detecting Iranian missiles should they be launched from any given direction. The situation is not as critically dangerous as it is in the case of the Arabian Gulf, and therefore there is an attempt here to create a protective cordon, ensuring that Iraqi airspace becomes a crucial point of interception. The Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan possesses sovereignty, and within its borders there could be a significant interception and response to incoming missiles. And of course, the Israeli side, the American side, and European countries, whether openly or covertly, may participate in repelling any such missiles. Therefore, there is a concerted effort to ensure the overall military posture and stability in this region. And of course, the Iranian side is currently suffering from fires. Southwest of the Iranian capital Tehran, appearing in this manner. It is believed they advanced towards the forest in a which then caused caused them to manifest in this particular way. And there were images of these fires, and it's unclear who is behind them. This is approximately the third or fourth occurrence within a period of about 2 weeks. It's exposed to such fires which came at the same time as the explosion we witnessed at the Khorramabad base. And of course, there were also demonstrations that had returned once again, this time demonstrations at universities in Tehran, for example. Also, there were demonstrations in Mashhad, and as we can observe, there was a confrontation involving students. And here, when we see demonstrations coming from students, this is a different situation. This is a new situation that the Iranian regime is now facing. And it's possible that this could be a very difficult beginning for the regime, especially if it is exposed to a strike that could ultimately weaken it. And yesterday, Papua, we also saw media covering a demonstration that appeared in a certain way, but they didn't show pictures of the protesters. However, one of the recorded clips showed these protesters being suppressed by Iranian security forces, appearing as they were dragged. And there was gunfire they were exposed to in this area, and media. It is coming in the direction of Lorestan, where the Khorramabad base explosion occurred. So, yeah, consequently, we are facing extremely dangerous circumstances that have begun to develop. And just under half an hour before we started this program, news arrived from the Omani side confirming that there will be an important upcoming round of talks between the United States and Iran in Geneva next Thursday. Next Thursday, the aircraft carrier will be present in the Eastern Mediterranean. American defensive and even offensive preparations are at a level that is significantly higher than the current one, and therefore this could very well be the decisive and final round.